How does your attachment style affect your sexual behaviors? People who have an anxious attachment style tend to be a little more selfless in the bedroom. Now let's talk about why that's not necessarily a good thing. Studies have shown that those who are anxiously attached have lower relationship satisfaction than those who are secure, disorganized, or avoidant. They experience more anxiety over sexual intimacy and fewer orgasms. When someone has an anxious attachment, they really struggle with feelings of insecurity. Their biggest fear is being abandoned by their partner, so they'll seek out sexual intimacy as a way of feeling reassured. In other words, if I'm satisfying my partner sexually, they're more likely to see my value and less likely to leave me. And because of this, they tend to prioritize their partner's sexual needs over their own, which is no different than how they approach the relationship outside of the bedroom. Those who are anxiously attached are more likely to engage in a friends with benefits situation, whether they've met someone who's elusive and unable to give them commitment, or with their ex after a breakup, once again to avoid that uncomfortable feeling of abandonment. Avoidants don't use sex to get reassurance or create emotional closeness. In fact, experiencing that kind of intimacy during sex makes them feel uncomfortable. Because of this, they're less likely to engage in passionate foreplay. Studies have shown that avoidants start engaging in sexual acts later on in life, and they experience higher levels of sexual satisfaction in non-committed relationships versus committed ones. Those who have disorganized attachment exhibit both anxious and avoidant traits. They might show a lot of love and affection for their partner outside of the bedroom, but once they cross that threshold, they'll leave those emotions at the door. They will separate those feelings during sex, and it's usually out of a fear of intimacy. Much like avoidance, they feel more comfortable with emotionless sex. However, when they do settle down and get into a committed relationship, they tend to take on a more submissive role. Those who have a secure attachment tend to be very confident about their value and their identity. They experience very low levels of anxiety and avoidance, so they don't need reassurance or validation through sex. They view sex as a way of cultivating emotional closeness, and they enjoy it. Those who have secure attachment feel comfortable experimenting and exploring new things in their committed relationships. They have no problem vocalizing their needs and setting boundaries. They're also less likely to engage in casual sex. If you feel like you're struggling with irregular attachment, I'm a huge advocate for therapy. And if you don't have the means or access to healthcare, there are plenty of books written by PhDs and licensed therapists on this subject. And if you ever want to talk to a friend about your relationship, I offer these really laid-back one-on-one sessions where you're able to vent about your relationship and, of course, get some objective feedback in return.